Oh, that's quite far away. Okay. Ow. Alright, what's going on guys? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to do an updated version on how to ollie. I made this video like a year ago, but because that was such a long time ago, I can probably explain it a little bit better. And I know there's a bunch of new guys that probably can't ollie. Or girls. There's a lot of new people that are probably beginners at skating. I'm going to teach you guys how to ollie today. So before we start, an ollie is one of the most basic tricks in skateboarding. You use it to get up stuff, to get over stuff, and also most other tricks like a kickflip or a pop shove it, a lot of them kind of have an ollie somewhere in the middle of that trick. And the basic idea behind doing an ollie, you snap your tail into the ground, your board comes up like this, jump at the same time, and then you level the board out and it gets some air. I also just got here, so I kind of want to warm up with a couple around the park. I'll show you guys some ollies and then I'll talk about how to do it. Ollies are my favorite trick. I also stole this cone on the way down here, so hit the like button because I commit a crime. Alright guys, so the first step in learning how to ollie is learning how to pop your tail, smack your tail into the ground. You can either do this on concrete or you can do it on grass. You can do it standing still or you can do it rolling. I would recommend doing it on concrete over grass because if you do it on grass you're going to get a lot less pop and it's not really going to feel the same as if you were to do it on concrete. If you skate regular like me with your left foot forward, you just kind of lift up your left knee and then your right foot is going to hit the ground. You also want to try have your back foot in the center of your tail, kind of more on your toes opposed to being like really flat-footed. Being up on your toes gives you like a little bit more weight when you do it and you can pop it a little bit harder. So to start off, just practice lifting that left knee up and tapping your tail into the ground. Get used to that feeling, and then when you're ready you can kind of do it with a little bit more force and kind of kick your tail down on the ground. So same as before but just a little bit harder, and try jump a little bit when you do it. Do this a lot. You want to get really comfortable doing it and try get like a really hard pop on your tail. If you kind of bend your knees down into it and then when you spring up, that's when you snap your tail because, I don't know, you've got force coming up, you want to snap your leg down at the same time and get a good jump. So back foot on the tail with your toes, you want to bend down and then snap it really hard. And jump at the same time. Squat down, give your board like a little kick into the ground, and you just want to keep doing that. You want to keep practicing that pop, get it harder, get it stronger, and then when you guys feel ready you can start using your left leg at the same time as well. So where your left leg comes into this, when you snap your tail down, you also want to level the board out. When this foot goes down and then you start to jump with your front foot, you want to slide it up the board at the same time to level the board out so it can actually get some air and then bring the back of the board up as well. Only at the moment when you snap your tail down, you're just kind of going like this and it's doing like the most baby ollie. Your back wheel is getting like an inch off the ground, if that. So as soon as you bend down and pop that tail, you also want to slide this foot up your board and try shift your weight forward. So you start off here on this back foot, you do the pop, and then your body weight kind of comes forward, which is going to help drag your foot up and then level the board out. When you have your weight leaning on this side, this leg kind of stays straight and it doesn't really bend with the board. Even though you're popping the board and you're jumping, if you're leaning this way, this leg's going to land first, so this leg's going to stay straighter and you're not going to get that much height. So by shifting your weight this way, it kind of brings up the back leg and puts your weight forward instead of on the back. And you got to remember that you're mostly going to be doing this trick rolling. You're not really going to be doing it standing still, so you want to be going forward. You want to have your weight going forward anyway. You can start off just practicing it standing still, try get that motion, try shift your weight and try drag that front foot up. And for feet placement, I have my back foot right kind of in the center of the board, right on my toes, and then my front foot between the bolts in the middle of the board, depending on how high I'm trying to ollie. If I'm trying to ollie up something really high, I'll have my foot further down the board. If I'm not really trying too hard, I can have it kind of up and I can still ollie pretty high. But for you guys just starting off, I would say have your feet in between those two things, in between the middle of the board and the bolts. It doesn't matter too much when you're just learning how to do it because you're not going to be popping super hard or you're not going to be dragging your foot up really high. All you're really trying to do at this stage is just get used to the feeling of popping your board and getting a little bit of air and trying not to fall. So whatever foot position just feels comfortable and you can stand on the board without feeling like you're going to fall off, that's the foot position you guys should probably start off with. You can try it whilst rolling on your board. You're just gonna do the exact same thing as you were doing when you were standing still. You also want to bear in mind that learning how to ollie and getting good ollies takes a long time. It's good to really try progress in the beginning, but if you're not seeing yourself ollieing really high within like a couple of days, that is not a weird thing. Like, I've been skating for over 5 years and I'm still working on my ollie every single day. It doesn't happen overnight. You gotta do them a lot. You gotta get that leg right, and you just gotta work on your technique. And the best way to get better at them is just to do them all the time. Work on them every single time that you go skating. Try do them over stuff, try do them up stuff, do them down stuff like stairs, and if you find something, you can steal it and take it to the skate park. A cone is like the best thing to ollie over. Side, you can go over it long ways, or you can turn it up and then get like a big ollie over it. My favorite thing to skate, and it's like one of the first clips that I posted on this channel. Back in like 2015, I dropped in on a cone and it was a really sick clip. And then some guy decided to throw it away because he got upset that I was skating it. But anyway, a cone is one of the best things to find if you guys are practicing ollies. Ollie over it sideways, turn it long ways. And then when you feel ready, kick it upways and do that. It's one of the most risky things you can fall back onto. You can put it out of stuff, like out of kickers. It'll make it easier just to get a little bit more pop and clear over the cone. Oh, that's quite far away. Okay. That really hurt, like more than it should have. I feel like the past 2 videos, I've just been getting so hurt. I've been bleeding, I've been slamming, I've been so sore. It's like how cold it is right now. And when you slap the ground when your hand's cold, that's the worst. It's the worst pain. Alright, so now you guys can ollie. Here's a couple of tips on how to make them better and ollie higher and just do a better ollie. One of the things that does help me ollie higher is when I drag my front foot up the board, I don't do it with like the whole side of my foot, like the whole side here, and I don't do it with my foot flat. Usually when you're doing an ollie and you're not trying to go too high, you're just trying to do like kind of low ollie with your shoulders kind of in line with your board, kind of like this, and then you'll slide your foot up with kind of like the side of your foot. I do that as well, but when I'm trying to ollie up something even higher, I kind of turn my shoulders like this a little bit. So instead of being like this on my board, I kind of turn like this, and then I turn this foot so it's angled this way and it's going forward. And what that's going to do is it's going to make your front foot kind of more on your toes, and when you slide it up, you're not really going to be sliding it, you're going to be kicking it, jabbing it, and kicking it right out as soon as you ollie. But at the same time, you do want to be dragging your front foot up the board, but it's not so much as a drag, it's like a kick. So when you slide it up, you're not kind of dragging it up like this, you're kind of kicking it and kicking it right forward. And I feel like I also turn my back foot a little bit, so instead of popping like this, my whole body is kind of like this on my board. This puts me like a little bit more on my toes, and I can get the hardest, most snappy pop as I possibly can. And when I do both of these things and also start with my front foot a little bit more back on my board, front foot's like usually about there, you can get a much higher ollie from it. Make sure you don't go too far back, because then it's just not really gonna work at all. You're gonna ollie even lower than like if you had your foot higher up. Find a good in between of it being not too low but not too high on the board. I feel like having your foot kind of right in the center of the board is like the best position for a really high ollie. And what this front foot kick thing is really good for is when you're ollieing over stuff, instead of just doing like an ollie and trying to clear it over, when you snap your board, you really poke it over the thing that you're trying to ollie over. So when you bend down and pop your board, you want to try like angle your foot and then lift your back leg so it can clear over the thing you're trying to ollie over. You roll up to something and you pop your board, you can really just jab it and angle it on top of the thing you're trying to ollie onto. And it means that if you pop your tail really hard and you get your board up at an angle like this and then you jab it forward, the back of it's going to come up to the height that you popped your board. So you're not trying to go like this, you're trying to go like this and then snap it up and then bring this back leg up when you do it. And that's just going to give your ollie like a really nice angle. And when you slide your foot up, but you do it on your toe. You want to do that in the center of your board, because if you pop your board and then you start dragging your toe up on the side of your board, it's going to want to flip a little bit. So you want to try to keep that toe right in the center of the board. It's just going to make you a lot more stable and also just level your board out a lot better. And it's not going to be all lopsided and trying to kickflip or anything like that. Just really practice that kind of jab and that kick, and you guys will get much better higher ollies. Or at least it helps me. Like, I really like to do kind of crazy ollies where my back foot's like all the way off the board and then it just slaps into it. I don't know, like ollie is my favorite trick. Guys, tutorial done. If you found it helpful, hit the like button, leave a comment down below, let me know if I helped you guys learn it or get your ollies better. And if any of you guys have any more advice, please drop that down in the comments. Try to help some other people out if you think I missed anything, or if you do something different that helps you guys get better ollies, or anything that can help me make my ollies better. Let me know down in the comments.